My video series on the correspondence team match played between my video lessons group and the team CARPE DIEM. This was played on board 55. Our man is JosephElliotson, and he's playing against ravishanthict. And let's have a look at these two games. And the match is winding down. There's 18 boards still with at least one game, 24 total remaining. And these rook pawn pushes keep coming. I've been looking ahead at some of the games about to complete. I see some more coming, and certainly we have one here. And let's look at this and do our best to spread the word to stop playing these rook pawn moves. Okay, now White's not playing a very aggressive system. We know that when playing correspondence chess, you're free to look at books and databases and learn openings and achieve a very satisfactory opening. But what does White do? H3. Terrible move. What does this do? I'm going to be specifically critical as these things go on, because there is no point to this move. You do not develop a piece. Black is not planning to put anything on G4. A knight's not going to do anything. The A7, F7, or F2 diagonal is closed. Black wants to develop his pieces. He doesn't want to put anything on G4. Okay, you're wasting a move. You're weakening your king side, and watch White's king side this game. It just doesn't get going. He tries to grab a pawn and hold on to it at the expense of his entire position. Okay, so now with colors reversed in the Queen's Gambit accepted, if Black tries to hold on the pawn like this, White is able to get effective counterplay against those pawns, and that's exactly what Black does. And Black is getting the better game here on move 5, okay? Strategically, Black is close to a winning game, especially when you throw in this wasted move. Okay, so it's pretty much like a Queen's Gambit declined, with this being a tempo, White having played this move, which doesn't help his game at all. So, can I say, Black is better. White's in trouble. Okay, grabs the pawn, now throws in B6. And the white pawns are going to collapse like a house of cards. And now hitting the pawn again on C5. And look at White's king side. We're at move 10, and White is still 4 moves from castling. You're 4 moves from castling at the very beginning of the opening. Here at move 10, White is still 4 moves from castling on either side. All he's got developed is his queen. The one piece he's developed is his queen. Nothing else is out. On move 10. Can you believe that? Okay, why aren't you looking up book openings? This is what correspondence chess is for. But here White develops a piece to hold onto a pawn. It was time to just play E3, give the pawn back, get developed, and try to make it a fight. Well, Black just piles on the pressure. Hello, Mr. Rook. Okay, saves his rook. And now there's a tempo on the queen at move 13. And White still has not developed anything on the king side except his rook pawn. Oh, isn't that so great? What was Black planning to do on that square? Nothing. Okay. Piles up on C5. Oh, I don't want you to take my pawn. I'm just going to push it where I can hold on to it a little longer. Let him have it. Develop these guys. You need to. It's your only chance. Okay. Black starts piling up on the pawn. And what's this for? Oh, let's trade queens. Okay, well, I don't want to trade queens. I'm going to play E5 and threaten to play D4 and drive you away from F2. And now White starts developing his queen side. King side still untouched. Move 16. Move 16, mind you. Not a single thing has moved on the king side except for that rook pawn. What can I say? Still nothing developed. Now I'm going to go attack the queen. And thank you for that pawn. Now finally, White develops something on the king side. I think that's all he's going to get developed. Now comes a little trick. Where does this bishop go? Well, if it goes to H4, Black has this really strong continuation. Now, for instance, you can't take the queen, because I'll show you why you can't take the queen. Walk right into a checkmate. Bingo. So what else is there? after queen c1 check? Well, you can interpose the queen. But now, let's see. You just take it. That's simple. I knew it was that simple. Okay, so that bishop on g5 is hung out to dry. So white just abandons it. Move 20 still is still 3 moves from castling. And black goes and snatches a pawn and says, "Go ahead, take my bishop. I'll still do my queen c1 trick." And why doesn't he do it? Oh, well, because this bishop's on this square. That's right. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So, but he throws this knight into play. This knight's now ready to check on c2. Doesn't even need to pick up the bishop on g5. And white grabs a piece. And now here at move 22, suddenly white's not able to castle kingside anymore. He's moved his king, but he still hasn't finished developing his kingside. Okay, picks up the rook, and white is basically slaughtered. Black didn't even need to pick up that bishop on g5. Hello, king. Check again. Check again. And pins the queen, and white decided he'd had enough. So what can I say? White didn't develop his kingside. White tried to hold on to a pawn. White got slaughtered. Okay, next time look up the openings. Okay, let's bring up the other game, and always wonder what move it's going to start it at. Oh, look at that. Move 19. How do you figure? Okay, here we go. So French defense, and look at that. Second move, a6. d5 will give you a perfectly playable game. White might even end up in an unfavorable line of the French. Why a6? What are you thinking? I mean, white's not going to put anything on b5 and do any damage at all. Develop your pieces. Strike in the center. Okay. Uh-oh, look at that. The black squares are starting to look like Swiss cheese. Will this bishop ever get developed? It's behind a whole bunch of pawns. Two in the way that way, 2 in the way that way. And if it even gets to this square, it's still got, 1 in the way that way. And white just develops pieces. And now he says, I'm going to start taking advantage of those dark squares. And this is a mistake, because now black discovers he can't take back. There's a fork. It's because you weaken your dark squares. And hello, look at what's happened to black's position. Now see how bad that a6 move is? It's totally weakened the b6 square. Black would like to try to undermine it if he could with b6 and have a support pawn, but that's what he's going to do. But where's the development? How is black going to castle kingside? He's 4 moves from castling queenside here, because none of these have moved. And this bishop can't even move safely. How is black going to get castled? Well, the solution is he isn't. Now, this is a serious threat. For instance, pawn takes, check. Now here you have a very pretty little queen sacrifice. Check. And checkmate. So white's able to set this up on move 11 because black hasn't developed, because black has chosen to weaken his pawn structure instead of developing pieces. So black's not going to castle. He decides to send his king to run for the hills. Now white figures better keep that bishop. And white keeps developing. Look at that. 3 minor pieces developed and castled. And now black decides, I need some room here. I'm going to give up a piece just to unconstrict my position a little bit, but too little, too late. Black has nothing. Here's a little cute offering. If pawn takes, we get a mate this way. Bingo. Okay, so black to seize that. Doesn't fall into it. But now comes a check, and black doesn't find allowing a pawn to get to the 7th rank to be too appetizing. So brings his king out. Here comes a check. Here comes a stock sacrifice. And black can't take the knight because he'll drop his rook. So he saves his rook. But this just leads to a quick demise. Double check. Forces the king to move. And then check. And the king goes back to h8. And we have checkmate. Game over. Could black have done anything differently here? Well, in this position, he could try that, but if anything, white can just pick up this rook and then start working on corralling this king. So what went wrong for black? Well, here it is. A6 and C6. You know, what kind of formation is this? No development. Not in the books, not recommended by any strong player. You can't win chess games this way. Eliminate these moves, and you'll have a fighting chance. Because when you played them, you got slaughtered. Okay, I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to say it in a nice way. But these moves, these rook pawn pushes, do not help your chess. It's that simple. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Take